All right, welcome back to the final round here on Yahoo Finance. Time now for our call of the day. And today we are talking about Wedbush's latest note on shares of Chipotle. The firm maintains an outperform rating and is raising its price target to $1,600 per share. Chipotle, as we've talked about a couple times in the last few months, has really been a big winner in the food space during this pandemic. The stock is up more than 3.5% today, $13.60 per share. And joining us now to discuss this call is Wedbush analyst Nick Setyan. And Nick, thanks so much for joining the show. I want to start with the second point that you guys actually raised in the note, saying it's difficult to see what could derail the post-COVID growth acceleration. And I'm just curious if we could back up and maybe you could outline for our viewers the acceleration in growth that Chipotle has seen over the last couple of months during the pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we could even step back a little bit further. And, pre-COVID, just to contextualize this call, pre-COVID, the restaurant industry was suffering from an oversupplied situation. There were just way too many restaurants. And for a decade, that limited the rates of growth that, some of the best, restaurants could achieve. And what COVID has done, fortunately or unfortunately, is really eliminate the inferior competition. And so, the best of breed players like Chipotle can now grow faster. And so what we're seeing is an acceleration in same-store sales growth, which is the existing restaurants, not newly built restaurants, to basically high single digits or even low double digits here in August, from only 2% in June and then 6.4% in July. And more importantly, in the medium to longer term, we're seeing the pipeline of new units build. New units are opening up at volumes we haven't seen in a very long time. And the landlords are being more amenable to things like Chipotle's with lower rents, more tenant improvement dollars. So the opportunity for growth across the board for Chipotle is very, very attractive. In fact, I'm saying it's going to be 2 times the EPS growth per year relative to the 10-year 13.5% we saw pre-COVID.
And so you mentioned how the picture changed for competition over the last couple of years, and obviously just in the last couple of months. But then also really the Chipotle story, at least as far as I can tell, kind of re-began right when Brian Niccol took over as CEO. Has there been, I guess, maybe like a step change in the trajectory of the business in the last few years, and is it growing at a pace that investors are still doubting? But obviously the stock has kind of risen in kind, and you outline the unit growth, the average unit growth, average sales per unit, up 30-40% really, almost 50% in your outline for the next couple of years.
Well, yeah, what Brian Niccol has done is nothing short of extraordinary. Ultimately, he turned the company around post the food crisis by focusing on the right message, right? I mean, yes, it was our fault. We've done the right things to fix it, but this is who we are, and that message has really gotten a lot of traction, both with respect to the existing customer, the most loyal customer, and newer customers and lapsed customers. He's done things like the digital investments that were really ahead of the game when he first moved in. Those have paid extraordinary dividends now, post-COVID, to position the brand, to actually take advantage of those digital initiatives, things like third-party delivery, things like the second make line, where you can order on your app and go pick it up in a very efficient way, pricing correctly to offset any kind of impacts around margins from the fees and so on. The labor efficiencies we've seen, the way he's incentivized the Chipotle labor force to really achieve these types of extraordinary results, it really has been nothing short of unbelievable. In fact, a lot of us, including myself early on, were doubters, and it's proved a lot of us very, very wrong.
And Nick, given all these positive indicators, what is your kind of thinking when it comes to a potential stock split with Chipotle? Of course, we're coming off of Apple and Tesla. Chipotle has been swirling, right, as a potential next candidate as the share price has gotten extraordinarily high and heated. Do you see this in the future for the stock?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could happen. It's not something that institutional investors really pay attention to too much. It's mostly, stock splits tend to be really for retail investors. From an institutional perspective, it really makes no difference.
All right, Nick Setyan, analyst with Wedbush. Nick, thanks so much for joining the program. Again, raising your price target on Chipotle, $1,600 a share. Nick will be in touch.
Thanks for having me.